talking about adding a custom objective instead of a laser barrier. So I'm interpreting that as an ask to make an arbitrary object hackable. So that would mean like you want to just place a random computer screen in the world and make that open up the hack interface.
Currently, we have two ways of seeding objectives into the world: treasure chests and laser barriers. But our arbitrary things should also be interactable in that way. Yeah. We've gotten some clarification. Just like how the fire exists in the open source mission, I want to add a bunch of rocks that are cleared when the objective passes.
I'm going to actually start with the extension template real quick and just go ahead and make a, what do we call this? Rock clear extension, I guess. I'm not the best namer. And I will try to make it there. Okay, it is public. And once that finishes, I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. And actually, I'm going to double check that I did set the right extensions directory. TQ extensions folder clean, TQ extensions folder clean. Okay, great. So now I'm going to copy down the extension template. And I'm going to pop open the extension in VS Code, and then I'll have to do a lot of zooming, I imagine, because it will be very tiny. Yeah. Let's make sure that this actually shows up. And actually what I'll do is I'll rename the mission to rock clear, just so we can verify that I'm loading the correct thing and not just the template anymore. And okay, good. We are loading. Okay. But so now that we have this extension downloaded, I'm going to pop it open inside of tiled and try to minimize the amount of time I spend in tiled because it is tiny on stream. And look for my extension. What I think we want to do to kind of do this demo is when this chest is hacked, this chest is set to example objective. And then what I'll do is place each section of the boulder real quick. And then I'm just going to copy and paste a few of these around, and we'll have these block the player. And I can't do that because we need to... Okay, we'll move the chest too. How about that? The chest will come up here. Just realized I blocked us away from the chest, so that was going to be hard to demo. And I'm just going to say goodbye to Cedric for now. Okay, great. So the kind of pitch here would be we make these rocks all disappear once the objective is completed, which I think is what we want to explore how to do. And so the first thing that I want to do is just reload TwilioQuest and make sure all of that stuff shows up how we expect it to. And that's one thing I like to do while doing extensions is just every little change to try to reload in the game and just make sure I haven't introduced a little bug somewhere, because that stuff gets kind of hard to track down if you end up getting too far past it and something early on was broken.
Fail early, fail often.
Yes, yes. Okay, good. And so we're seeing the player's movement is blocked. Oh, not exactly how we want. That's fine. We won't worry about that right now. Okay, great. So I can't move out of this space. And so what we can do now is each of these objects, I'm going to select all of these rock objects here. So all four of these sprites parts, and I'm going to give them a new custom property called key. And I'm going to call these blocker underscore rocks, I guess. I'm giving each of these objects a unique key so that I can identify them in the scripting I'm going to do in a second here. And so this is just one way to accomplish this. There's other ways that we could make this sort of thing work. What I want to do now is I'm going to do a little test function here. So this events.js file is something that executes every time the player does something in the world. So when they interact with an object, when they open an objective, when they complete an objective, talk to an NPC, all sorts of stuff. And so what I want to do here is not do the objective complete, because then I'd have to refresh data. I'm going to look for player did interact. And that should just let us test the rock hiding. And so the world API in Events.js has a bunch of different functionality, API functions that do a bunch of different things. And one of them is to hide entities. And this lets us pass in, nope, that's the docs key. So what did I actually call this key? Block rock. And so hide entities actually lets us pass in a string that identifies entities in the game. And so theoretically, what this little snippet of code should let us do is say, whenever a player did interact event happens, we'll hide all blocker rocks. And so now we can see if that worked. And so this is sort of like the simpler kind of hacky, I say hacky, it's not hacky, simpler sort of scripting way that you can do it. What we could also do is make a custom object rock that you can place anywhere, and it'll dynamically do this for you. But I'm approaching it this way because this way I think is a little quicker for just the one-off case. But if you want to use this rock in a ton of different places, you might consider making a custom object, because then you could reuse that functionality easier across maps. So actually, I don't think I made an interactable object. I didn't make an interactable object up here. Okay. Let's say, I believe what we can do now, I think that what I have done is created a property called interactable. And so what we'll set up to do instead for now is add the interactable property, and I'm going to have to try to spell that right, to every single one of these objects again. I'm going to set it to true. And what we should see now, so like when you look at the game right now, exclamation point doesn't appear when I go near these rocks. And now hopefully, because I have set this interactable true property, when I reload the map, they will be interactable now. Okay, cool. So maybe I missed a couple of them, but it looks like these are now interactable. So hopefully nothing will happen, just like I wanted when I when I interact. Oh, so I am getting a player did. So what I'm doing here is I'm opening the developer tools, and my events.js is logging every event that happens. And what I can see is that when I hit this space bar, these rocks are interactable now. Okay, so this is debatably legible. But so we can see there's this player did interact event. And so now I want to figure out why this wasn't working. I'm curious if I spelled everything correctly. What did I wrote play did interact. Great, okay. Typos. So
one
now
of
we'll
the
see
people
if
that I follow on Twitter, every so often, we're talking like maybe once a month or so, they will just post the exact same tweet, which is that I love my typos and yours. And I can't tell you how much comfort I find in that recurring statement because, yeah, ouch.
They are common.
Yes, that is life.
Okay, let's see if I have spelled player right, if the rocks. Okay, great. Okay, so these ones I missed when I was assigning. But so now what we can see is on the interaction event, we're able to hide all of those entities. Right now, they're still showing up as interactable, which is kind of funny, but that's okay. But yeah, so this lets you clear a path when you set up an interaction event. And so you can get more nuance with that, right? So I could say, so basically what happens here is if I interact with anything in the entire world, then the rocks will clear. But I could also check, so the event also has a target. If we go back into the DevTools, I should just show that. And I'm going to clear stuff. And so yeah, there's this target property of events too that lets you do all kinds of, gives you all kinds of information. But one thing we can see here, hopefully on stream, is the blocker rock key is right here. And so you could say the target key is equal to blocker rock. And so now only when we interact with a rock will any of the rocks be cleared. And then you can go, if you want to keep going this direction, you could make a group of the rocks called Blocker Rock 1, and then you could clear specific groups of rocks.